A group of 51 comprising of farmers from West Limerick, local agricultural advisors, advisors from the local co-op and commercial banks, and members from agribusiness went on a study tour of modern dairy units in the north of England and in the south of Scotland in the last week of October 1979. This is Mr. John Moffat's farm at Paisley, Newcastle upon Tyne. John is the owner of the Hyundai herd. Here the group are examining the dry cows. Mr. Moffat is at the centre of the picture. These milking cows are some of the best cows in his herd. Milk is produced for the liquid trade in England and Scotland, and production is on an all-year-round basis. This farm was purchased by Mr. Moffat from the Coal Board. It is now fertile land, having been reclaimed or restored from the original open-cast coal site. The yellow bands on the cows' necks are transponders and are used in conjunction with indoor and out-of-parlour programmed feeding and automatic milk recording. John is seen here explaining a point to the group. This is a close-up view of one of the transponders on the cow's neck. The transponder transmits information to a computer, which in turn relays this information to the parlour feeder when the cow is being milked, and to the out-of-parlour feeder when the cow is in position at the feeder. The group were very impressed by the quality and condition of the cows. Grassland management was of the highest standard. The in-calf heifers are now in picture, as is the farm manager. This man has a keen interest in the herd. Mr. Moffat is involved in the commercial end of dairying also. He has his own research development units. The group spent time visiting these also. The electronics department developed the Hyundai indoor and out-of-parlour feed system. Work is at an advanced state on the development of a fully automated electronic milk meter. The Cattle Breeder Services Department provides a commercial AI service which is available in Ireland and the UK. Work is also at an advanced state on embryo transplant for cattle on a commercial basis. West Side Museum restores old farm equipment and puts it on display for visitors. Micheal Noonan TD is demonstrating A king kit hose, B a pressurized spray unit used to disinfect cows' udders after milking. The white circular container is the Hyundai milk meter, which is fully automated for milk recording. This is a close-up view of a feeder. The white box is the electronic signal box which transmits and receives signals from the computer regarding the amount of feed a cow should receive. This is the out-of-parlour feeder placed in the cubicle house, which again is electronically worked and linked to the computer. This is used to feed high-yielding cows programmed amounts of feed. Our next stop was at the farm of Mr. Whiteford of Carlisle. This is a view of his dairy. The herd consisted of 230 pedigree Ayrshire cows and followers. The average milk yield was 1,200 gallons. Slurry from the cubicle easy feed unit was cleared by tractor and scraper to a series of slatted channels. It moved by gravity to a sump, which was a considerable distance away. A steel slurry tower was used for slurry storage. This is a general view of the farm of Mr. J. Wright and Sons of Wigton. The cubicle house and parlour with the roof in blue, the steel tower slurry tank, and the tower silo, which has a capacity of 1,200 tons. The cows are fed using a conveyor belt system. Mr. Wright is seen here demonstrating how he feeds his stock. The silage is transported from the tower silo by conveyor belt to the cows. The movement on the silage on the conveyor belt unit can be changed by a series of devices demonstrated here by John Wright. Sawdust instead of rubber mats is used in this unit for cow comfort in the cubicle beds. The cubicle beds were exceptionally clean. Cow passages are cleaned using a Delta scraper unit. This Delta scraper unit was installed 10 years ago. We see it here returning in the closed position. This is an old cow byre converted to calf housing. Baby calves are in individual pens, and older calves are trained to lie in cubicles. A pulley device is used to keep the last cow in position in the milking parlour. We are now on Mr. Lawrence Davidson's dairy unit. Mr. Davidson is seen here clipping the legs, flanks, tails and others of his dairy herd. The cows are stalled in self-locking yokes to do this. The calves are housed on slats on this farm and are fed milk replacer from an automatic feeder. Hay is provided from a hay rack, and meals are laid on in a meal trough. Here we have a general view of the dairy unit. The covered silo is the high building on the left of the picture. The cubicle house and parlour, the high portion being the parlour, at the centre of the picture, and at the extreme right is the general purpose house. Now we are looking at a typical double-up milking parlour. The cluster is removed by automatic cluster remover from the cow, and milk is automatically transferred to the dairy. Vacuum-operated gates are used to leave the cows out after milking, and vacuum-operated feeders are filled with meals from the loft over the parlour. The walls and floor of this unit were completely tiled. This is a typical example of the standard of cleanliness of dairy cows in the units visited. Rubber mats were used for cow comfort on the cubicle beds on most farms. In addition, some sawdust shavings were also used, as is seen in this unit. These measures account for the exceptionally clean appearance of all cows seen by the group during the tour. The group are now visiting the farm of William Parker of Saltcoats, Ayrshire. Mr. Parker manages a pedigree herd of Ayrshire's. Members had some light refreshments before examining a select group of high-yielding cows in that herd. John Horgan from Brewery is seen here looking in detail at the good points of a cow which yielded 1,800 gallons in 305 days. This is a general view of a milking parlour with a meal feeding system using the loft for feed storage. The bulk bin and auger system would be favoured today. Here we see a typical close-up view of a diagonal barrier and cows eating easy feed silage. The cows are on slats. Notice how clean the cow's feet are, also the entire body, flanks and legs. The pillars to support the roof were inserted between the cubicle slat wall division in this unit. This allows the centre span of the house free of obstructions when installing self-locking yokes or diagonal barriers later. This is the farm of Walter Hogarth of Saltcoats, Ayrshire, who manages a high-yielding commercial herd of Friesians. The dairy unit includes a tower silo and a slatted easy-feed cubicle house and parlour under the one roof. Brewer's grain available from the distilling industry is ensiled in clamps until it is required for feeding as part of the cow's diet. The tower silo is 100 feet high and has a capacity of 1,200 tons. The north of Ireland can be seen from this tower on a clear summer's day. One group member climbed to the top. Silage from the tower or brewer's grain are fed into the hopper at the mouth of the conveyor belt unit, seen here surrounded by bales of straw. The portion of the conveyor belt unit outside the cubicle house is covered for protection against the weather. Members of the group are seen here with Mr. Hogarth and with Mr. Matt Brown, nutritionalist, examining the cutter bar, which operates like a chainsaw. It is inserted into the bottom of the tower silo and the rotating teeth extract the silage onto the hopper. These are some of Mr. Hogarth's high-yielding cows. The cows were still out by day in the last week of October. We were informed that the herd would be indoors from the first week of November for a 7-month winter period. Silage on this farm was made on outdoor clamps. Railway sleepers and pillars were used to make the walls. Fertilizer bags and old polythene were used to seal the sides of the walls. Here also we saw a kennel house with a slatted passage beside the main dairy unit. This is the conveyor belt in the cubicle house. And this is the drive unit for the conveyor belt. David Hogarth of Salcoats, Ayrshire, brother of William, was the owner of the next farm visited. David manages the Sorby herd of pedigree Friesens. The average milk yield of his herd is excess of 1,300 gallons, using 3,200 weight of concentrate per cow. Here we see David meeting members of the group on arrival at his farm. High-yielding cows in excess of 2,000 gallons per lactation were identified. Number 24, a red Friesian cow in her 5th lactation, gave 2,180 gallons. And number 175, a Canadian Friesian cross in her 3rd lactation, projected to yield in excess of 2,000 gallons. Herd management was of a very high standard here. Cows were in a very fit condition and exceptionally clean. It was concluded that David was a top-class stockman. In winter, the herd is split into 2 groups. High-yielding cows in excess of 6.5 gallons per day and low-yielding cows. High-yielding cows are fed on a diet of silage and meals, mixed on the conveyor belt unit. In addition, further meals are fed morning and evening at milking time. Brown and son of Ochiltree, Ayrshire, who recently had completed a low-cost dairy unit for his 100-cow herd. The Delta Scraper unit cleans the slurry from the cubicle passage. Cows walk over it with the greatest of ease. This is the drive unit which drives the chain inserted in a 2x2 groove in the concrete. And now we are looking at one of the pulleys. The movement of the scraper chain is quite slow, 12 feet per minute. The scraper moves the slurry right up to the slatted channel. Most of the slurry, especially the liquid fraction, drops down through the slats. The solid fraction is later pushed down by the continuous action of the cow's feet. The cubicle beds in this unit had rubber mats for cow comfort, and in addition some sawdust was also used to keep the cubicle beds clean. This is a view of the roof support structure of the house. Silage has been laid on in the feed troughs and meals have been distributed evenly on top of the silage in readiness for the cow's next meal. Diagonal field barriers have been installed. This type is successful in ensuring that each animal will get its fair share of the ration. The slatted tank from the cubicle house is continued across the collecting yard of the milking parlour. The remaining portion of the collecting yard is concreted. Yard washings are directed to a gully trap inside the slatted tank. So one has a choice to direct the washings either into the slatted tank or into a gully trap by lifting the plug, as is demonstrated here by Mr. Brown and Willie O'Regan. This is a gate with a locking device which cannot be opened by livestock. This is the sump of the cubicle and parlour slatted tank, into which a slurry pump has been installed. The slurry from the sump is pumped to the steel tower slurry nearby. The top of the sump is covered with a timber frame for safety. A narrow concrete channel leads back from the steel slurry tower to the sump to allow recirculation and agitation of the slurry. When the slurry is to be recirculated or agitated, two sluice gates are lifted and pumping commences. Now the group assembles for the last time and some photographs are taken. James Lyons from Arda thanks Mr. Brown for showing the group his unit and presents him with a gift for himself and his wife. After Mr. Brown's reply, the group disperse and members make their way back to the coach. This is a general view of the dairy unit. The cubicle house, the steel slurry tower, and the wall silo with tires on the polythene. The unit blends in very well with the local surroundings, and there's very little muck to be seen. This is a general picture of the old farm buildings. The coach with the group moves off and the tour is complete. Our thanks to Dennis O'Grady, building contractor of Newcastle West, and to Frank Gray from Alfa Laval for their help and cooperation in the making of this film.